Please advise. Regarding this issue, it's an issue of dispute as every other issue in Islamic fiqh, due to the evidences that some scholars may know of and others may not, due to their understanding of these evidences, due to their authentication of such evidences, because some may consider it unauthentic. So in this case, regarding the vaginal discharges that women get continuously, the majority of women get this. Scholars say that they are considered to be pure. So a woman does not have to wash, and she does not have to change her underwear whenever she wants to pray. But does it nullify wudu or not? The most authentic opinion is that it nullifies wudu, because anything that comes out of the private parts nullifies wudu. Period. Anything that comes out of the private parts nullify wudu, but not everything that comes out of the private parts is considered to be najis or impure. Therefore, we look at the case of this individual. If she says that I have this discharges all the time, continuous throughout the day, 24/7. If this is the case, then this is considered to be a chronic illness, such as a person who has a urine problem. He keeps on dripping throughout the whole day and night. It's impossible for him to stop it, and it's impossible for him not to pray. So she's advised as he's advised, and that is that they should perform wudu and they should pray as long as they do not nullify their wudu with a different act from these discharges or from that urine. So if a woman performs wudu, she may pray dhuhr, and if her wudu is intact, in the sense that she did not nullify it by passing wind or defecating or urinating, but these discharges keep on coming out, her wudu is intact until she nullifies it with other than these discharges, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Brother Riyadh from Saudi Arabia, or Brother Nasir, that is. Brother Nasir, Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Yes, brother, what can I do for you?
Brother, I'm calling from Yanbu.
Oh, Yanbu. Okay.
Yeah. I think I met your brother also.
Okay.
In Yanbu.
Okay.
Yeah.
What can I do for you?
My relatives, they came here for Hajj. They came from India.
Okay.
They performed the Umrah and they left to Medina now.
Okay.
They are planning to go for the Hajj Tamattu now.
Inshallah.
So what they have to do now? Their operator is telling that they don't want to go for the, they don't have to do the Umrah again now. Directly they are going and dropping them in the Azizia. From there they will go directly to Medina.
Medina?
Yeah. Medina, sorry.
Okay, one question. When did they make their Umrah when they came from India?
Yeah, they made it in the last 2-3 weeks back.
Okay, so they are in Tamattu'. They don't have to do anything.
They don't want to perform Umrah again?
No, this is enough. Tamattu', Akhil Kareem, is only one Umrah.
Yeah.
And then after you are in the state of halal, you remain until the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. You intend to wear your ihram and make your intention for Hajj and go to Mina straight away.
Now they are in Medina now.
Okay, no problem. When will they go to Mina?
After 2 days.
No problem, inshallah.
So they can directly make the ihram from Medina or from
No. Now it is not time for Hajj. Hajj time is on the 8th or the 7th of Dhul Hijjah. Therefore they go to Aziziyah and stay there wearing their normal clothes. They're not in the state of ihram. Once they want to go to Mina on the 7th or the 8th, they wear their ihram, they shower of course, and they say labbaik Allahumma Hajj, and they go.
I see. Okay then. Thank you, brother.
You're welcome, Khana. Hayyakallah. And we move on to Lara from Nigeria. She says that she has a friend who offended her deeply and she cannot stand her anymore. Is that okay? And she has another question about bowing to or kneeling down to elderly people out of respect. Is that okay? For the first question, the relationships between people is very difficult to manage. And people themselves differ. You find someone who's an easygoing. Even if you insult him, even if you were disrespectful to him, his heart is as big as an ocean. Once you come and seek his forgiveness, he forgives you. If you don't seek his forgiveness, he forgot everything that you have harmed him or wronged him with. And by far, this is a characteristic of the people of Jannah. Those who are easygoing, who are so forgiving and tolerant, it is a characteristic of the people of Jannah. On the opposite side, there are people, when you talk to them, you are so afraid and intimidated, because if you say the wrong thing, even with a good intention, they make a fuss out of it. They start to blame you, they start to point fingers, and they remind you of things that took place 50 or 60 years ago. You did this, you did that, your intention was this, your intention was that. And by far, these are not among the righteous people. Those who keep on bringing up old stories and confusing you and making life difficult, they are not part of the righteous people who are supposed to be friendly, who are supposed to be forgiving, and who are supposed to be tolerant. Therefore, my advice to you is that you should forgive, and you should forget any wrongdoing they did to you, because if you do this, anticipating the reward from Allah, Allah would forgive your sins. It's exactly what Abu Bakr did, may Allah be pleased with him. When his cousin, whom Abu Bakr used to support and give money because he was poor, slandered his daughter, Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, the mother of the believers. So Abu Bakr said, I'm not going to give him a dime from now on because of what he had done. And Allah revealed a verse in Surah An-Nur which encouraged him to forgive so that Allah would forgive him. And the minute he heard this verse from the Prophet ﷺ, he said, O Prophet of Allah, I make you my witness that I have forgiven Mastah ibn Athatha, my cousin, and from now on I'm going to give him and support him and provide for him until I die. This is how we should deal with others, so that not they would like us and love us, but so that Allah Azza wa Jal would forgive our sins. As for the second question of Sister Lara or Lara, kneeling down to people out of respect is completely forbidden in Islam, because it is an act of worship. So prostrating is an act of worship that can only be for Allah Azza wa Jal. For bowing down, ruku', it's also an act of worship that can only be to Allah the Almighty. So what the people do in countries like Japan or China or Korea, when they bow down out of respect, this is completely forbidden in Islam. Even if it's a cultural thing, it's completely forbidden in Islam, because this is an act of worship. Now, if you do this out of respect, then you're choosing to respect them on the account of Allah Azza wa Jal, and this is not permissible. So you respect people by your acts, by the things you say, by the favors you do for them. You do not respect them, show them respect by prostrating or kneeling or bowing down to them, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Sida?
Hello?
Yes?
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Okay, my name is Sabah and I'm calling from Canada.
Okay, Sabah.
And my question to you is, there are two questions. One is mine and one I'm asking on behalf of somebody else. My question is, Shaykh, if you're reading like Surah Kaf on Friday, or the Surah Baqarah, any of the Surah which you're reading like from start to finish, not recitation of the Quran, just regular reading of the Surah, especially Surah Kaf. And if your phone rings, or if somebody is at the door, or what is the etiquette? Like, should you not talk at all and continuously keep on reading, or can you stop and talk? Like, can you say, to stop and answer the question, or just pick up the phone and say, not now, if it's an important one, like your family members calling, or something like that? Can you guide what is the etiquette while reciting the Quran if there's a phone call or somebody at the door, or your children ask you a question?
I got your question. The second question, please.
Okay, that's what, the second question I'm asking on behalf of somebody else. He was a young student while in university. You know how students, they ask each other, can you give me $5, I'll return you back tomorrow. Somebody asks him, can you give me $10, I'll return it back to you some other day. And then they forget about it and they don't return it. And now, after, you don't even know where these people are, and you don't even know how much the amount is. What is the proper etiquette now at this stage in your life? What should you do about it?
Okay, I'll answer your questions, inshallah.
And Jazakallah khair.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We have also Sister Sadia from Saudi Arabia.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Sheikh, inshallah, we'll be going for Hajj, and inshallah, we'll be performing Hajj Tamattu.
Okay.
And in order to delay my periods, I am taking medicines, but from past few days, I'm getting spottings. So now, how to proceed about Hajj? And in case if I have to delay the Umrah, then till when can I delay? I mean, till when can I wait to perform Umrah?
Where are you from?
Riyadh.
Riyadh. And you did not do your Umrah yet?
No.
Okay. And when are you coming?
Inshallah, on Wednesday, we'll be leaving through tour.
Okay. I'll answer your question, inshallah.
Okay.
First of all, Sister Sabah from Canada, she's asking about when a person is reciting the Quran and he's interrupted, whether he's reciting Surah Kahf on Friday or Surah Al-Baqarah or any recitation of the Quran, and he's interrupted either by a cell phone, by someone walking in and saying salam, by the mother or the father calling you. So is it permissible to interrupt my reading and do whatever I want and come back? The answer is yes. It is obligatory upon you to interrupt your reading if someone comes in and says assalamu alaikum, because we know that reciting the Quran, reading the Quran is a voluntary act. It's one of the good deeds, while returning the salam, replying to someone who offers you salam, is mandatory. So if someone comes in and says assalamu alaikum, you should say wa alaikum salam and interrupt your recitation. And it's worth noting that a lot of the Muslims give salam when they are not supposed to do this. And I'll give you an example. If I'm in the masjid and there's no one in the masjid, and I'm reading the Quran, and someone walks into the masjid and sees me, what am I doing? I'm reciting the Quran, I'm reading the Quran, or I'm supplicating. And the guy comes in and said, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Why are you doing this? You're interrupting my recitation. Now, it's wrong for him to do that, but it's wrong for me not to reply. So I must, and it's obligatory for me to go and interrupt my recitation and give salam back to him. As for the second question, we will postpone this until, inshallah, we answer Brother Abdul Hakeem from Nigeria. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I would advise you to turn down the volume of your television because I can hear myself.
Okay. I have done that.
Yes, brother.
In Nigeria, especially in the northern part of Nigeria,
Okay.
We have cases of poliomyelitis.
What is that?
And the government is poliomyelitis in Nigeria. Episodes of poliomyelitis is a disease that causes disabling of the children.
Okay.
In the world, but we do have some pockets of that cases in Nigeria.
It's like is it like polio?
To vaccinate the people against this.
Is it like polio?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Is it like polio? Is it an illness like polio?
So it's just polio. That is it. That is it.
Okay.
Yes, it's polio.
Okay.
The full meaning is poliomyelitis.
Yeah. Okay.
So the government is immunizing people against it.
Okay.
But some ulama in Nigeria, I think it's haram.
Okay.
And as a result, some people don't allow their children
to be vaccinated. What is the true position of Islam on this?
I will answer your question, inshallah.
The second question,
Okay.
the second question, the last episode.
Yes.
The last episode I asked
Yes.
in the polygamy. Why I asked was that in Nigeria, you find people who don't have good means of income. Will marry 4 wives and will not be able to take good care of them. What is the position of Islam in marrying wives that you cannot take care of?
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Regarding the second question of Sister Sabah, that children, they sometimes borrow $5 and $10 from their friends at school, and they promise to return it the following day and they forget. And like a year or two later on, they remember. Well, if it's $5 and $10, these are really rich children, but assume that this happens. So what is the ruling on it? And let's go a little bit higher. If I borrow something from a friend or from a colleague and I forget about it, or the colleague dies or he leaves, it travels, and I cannot trace him. If someone does work for me in my house, a laborer or something, or a plumber or any of that sort, and he does not take his a wage or his money for his service, and he leaves and I cannot find him. If I get a taxi and I forget to pay him and he forgets to charge me, and then I don't know where the taxi is. These money that I have, this money is not mine. So therefore, I cannot keep it because I got a service in return, or I borrowed it from someone, so it's another person's property. If I cannot allocate this person, in this case, I have to give this money to charity. If he's a Muslim, I would intend that this money is being spent to charity on the behalf of that person who the money belongs to. Sadia is going for Hajj, and she is worried about her menses. She intends to go for tamattu', and as we know, tamattu' is to perform umrah, and after finishing the umrah and shaving or cutting the hair, one stays in the state of halal, meaning that he wears his normal clothes until the 8th of the Hijjah. He makes ihram for Hajj. So she's worried now because she's coming from Riyadh on Wednesday. We know that she has to go to Mina on Friday, which is Yawm al-Tarwiyah. Saturday is Arafah. Sunday is Eid. So she's coming on Wednesday. She's hoping to make tawaf and sa'i of Hajj. That is tawaf and sa'i of Umrah. And then she wants to stay halal until the 8th and go to Mina. But she's afraid because she's taking medication to stop her period, yet she's getting spotting. First of all, spotting is not related to your period. So if a normal woman gets a spot or two, this is not considered to be her menses, because hayd means to flood. So if the blood comes in the form of flooding and it's gushing, it's not in the sense of gushing, but it's coming in quantities, this is your menses. If it's a drop or two, this has nothing to do with it. So you go and you make your umrah. If you get your period before you finish your tawaf of this umrah, then immediately you have to switch from tamattu' into qiran, which means that you have to stay as you are, leave the haram, because you cannot stay there while you are in your menses, and do as Mother Aisha did, may Allah be pleased with her. She was doing tamattu' and then she switched it into qiran. Brother Abdul Hakeem is asking from Nigeria about vaccinations of polio in the north of Nigeria. And as I was coming to do the program, I heard something on NPR, and they were saying that polio remains only in 4 countries in the world: Nigeria, India, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. And it's a shame because this illness, this disease, this epidemic has been eradicated all over the world except in these 4 countries. And Nigeria is a Muslim country. And he says that some scholars say that it is forbidden to take this vaccination. I don't know what scholars he's talking about. And why would they claim that such a thing that would be beneficial for Muslims would be considered to be forbidden. As long as this vaccination does not contain anything haram and it helps Muslims, it becomes mandatory if it is 100% effective and it prevents illnesses. If it's 50% of prevention, then this is up to the parent to decide. But to say that or to claim that it is haram, you have to provide the evidence, and to my knowledge there isn't any such evidence, and therefore we advise the people in North Nigeria to vaccinate their children against this horrible disease. He's asking about a question last time he asked about polygamy, and he's adding a condition. And I think I've elaborated on this issue. If you're able financially to take care of your 4 wives, it is permissible for you to marry them. If you're able to take care of your children, it is recommended that you have as many as you want. But if you, as I've got so many messages and emails from sisters, if you are, excuse my word, a punk, you don't work, you don't earn, your wives go and work in the farm and they collect money or they teach, and you just sit in your house and they spend their wages and salaries over you, this is forbidden. Allah made it a condition for those who want to marry more than 1 wife that they are fair and they are capable of doing this. But when you are stone broke and you still want to get married to a 2nd or a 3rd or a 4th wife, and you don't have the means to support your family, you don't have means to support your children, this becomes forbidden for you. Abu Hakem from Saudi Arabia.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Listen to me from the telephone and turn off your TV volume, please.
Yeah, it's switched. It's a low volume. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
I have a question about the sacrifice. We do not sacrifice we are from Riyadh, we do not sacrifice it here.
Okay.
So back at home we tell our parents or anybody elder to sacrifice it on behalf of.
Okay.
So is it compulsory for us to not cut the nails and cut hair?
Okay.
During the 10 Zilhaj days, or we have to cut it?
Who's the one who's sacrificing? Actually, you.
Me,
Okay.
and my wife.
Yes, okay. I will answer your question, inshallah.
Yeah. Me and my wife are going to sacrifice.
Okay. Any other question, Brother Abu Hakam?
No. This is the only one.
Okay. Okay. Regarding the question of Brother Abu Hakam, this is a typical question that a lot of the brothers ask. It is so aggravating for them, unfortunately, though they should look at it as a form of worship. It is aggravating to a lot of the brothers and sisters when they want to sacrifice that they are obliged to refrain from clipping their nails or touching any part of the hair of their bodies in removing wise. So they look at it as a burden. Now, I'm not talking about shaving the beard, because as I stated before, it is completely forbidden to shave the beard, whether in the 10 days of the Hajj or elsewhere. It is completely forbidden, and the consensus of the 4 schools of thought, which definitely you are following one of them, they all agree that it's forbidden to shave it. So I'm not addressing this issue. I'm addressing the issue of clipping the nails, maybe trimming the mustache, moving some facial hair or something on your body. This is all forbidden. So a lot of the brothers try to camouflage it or try to, make a trick. So instead of them paying the money and refraining from doing this, they say, okay, I'll give a power of attorney. I'll ask my father in India, I'll ask my brother in Egypt, I'll ask my sister in Jordan to do this for me, and I'll send them the money by bank transfer. Again, who's doing the sacrifice? It is me. And in this case, regardless of the person actually slaughtering, regardless of the country he's slaughtering it in, I am the one who is doing the sacrifice, and hence I have to comply with the Prophet's hadith, alayhi salatu wasalam, and I must not touch my hair or my fingernails. As for my wife, if she's not sacrificing, because it's not mandatory for her to sacrifice, my sacrifice is enough for the whole house. So if she is not sacrificing and I'm doing this, then she is permitted to do that is removing the hair or clipping the nails, because she is not sacrificing. But if she is sacrificing and she's paying the money, in this case she shares the same instruction, and she must not touch the hair or the nails by cutting. Brother Shahid from Saudi Arabia.
Shahid, sir.
Yes.
I am from Saudi Arabia, Bisha, Saudi Arabia. I want to ask a question.
Turn down the volume of your TV, please.
Sir, if a woman comes for Hajj from India, Pakistan, any Asian country here, and he has performed all the arkans of the Hajj, but regarding the tawaf ifada,
Okay.
which is hello,
Yes, I'm listening.
which is but his spirit starts before the tawaf ifada. We have a hadith of Hazrat Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, which everyone know, that she has postponed his tawaf ifada. But a woman who has come from Pakistan, India, any other country, and their schedule is very tight, she has to go back to his country. What she has to do for tawaf ifada?
Okay. I'll answer your question, inshallah. Any more?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I believe that we have a break. After that, inshallah, we'll address Brother Shahid's question. So stay tuned.
One of these meanings that we learn in the journey of Hajj is how to be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we learn how to reach it in the journey of Hajj. And this is something that we learn in the journey of Hajj by pondering over the verses in the Quran. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that in the Quran in Surah Al-Hajj. And that's why a Muslim in the journey of Hajj, in all of our life, a Muslim should be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for those who are making Hajj to accept their Hajj, and for those who were not able to make Hajj, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide them to make them and give them the means to perform this act of worship.
لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا.
Hajj is the largest gathering of Muslims in one place from all over earth. There is no other day in which Allah will free necks from the hellfire. The objective of that gathering is to put these hearts together. Then the day of Arafah. وَأَذِّن فِي النَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا وَعَلَى كُلِّ ضَامِرٍ يَأْتِينَ مِنْ كُلِّ فَجٍّ عَمِيقٍ. We're going to talk about towards an accepted Hajj, towards a Mabrur Hajj. What do you need to do? The blessed days of Dhul Hijjah are blessed for everybody, whether you are in Hajj or not. Complete the rituals of Hajj and Umrah for Allah.
والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and welcome back. Brother Shahid's question regarding a pillar of Hajj. We know that the types of tawaf are as follows. Tawaf al-Qudum, which only the Qarin and the Mufrid do when they come in the beginning, and it's voluntary, it's not mandatory. And then we have Tawaf al-Ifada, or Tawaf al-Hajj, or Tawaf al-Ziyarah, three different names for the same action. And this takes place on the day of Hajj onwards. And this is a pillar. Without it, your Hajj is invalid. And the last tawaf is Tawaf al-Wada', which is mandatory when you want to leave the holy shrines. So he's asking about a sister that comes from another country, and she has her menses and she finishes the rituals of Hajj, and she did not perform her tawaf of al-ifadah because she's unable to do this. She is not pure. But the expedition, the people she's with are traveling the second or the third or the fourth day, and she's not still pure. So what can she do? And she does not have the ability to stay in Mecca, and she is unable to come back to Mecca after a week or two or a month or two. And the answer would be, this is a specific case for a woman who is unable to complete her Hajj, and in this case we tell her that she should make sure that blood does not come out by putting the necessary paddings or whatever, and tampons, and then she makes her tawaf because of the necessity of the situation, and she may travel. But if she's capable of staying or she's capable of coming back, it's mandatory for her to do that. But if these two are not possible, in this case she is in an emergency. Sister Fatima from Saudi Arabia.
Yes, assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum salam.
I have two questions.
Okay.
One is regarding Hajj that me and my husband had offered a few years ago, and we were concerned that the Hamla we went with, when we were in Muzdalifah and we were staying there for the night, they took us from Muzdalifah somewhere in the middle of the night, and I'm not sure what time it was. And we were concerned that since the Prophet offered his Fajr and then he left, they took us much before Fajr,
okay,
somewhere in the middle of the night, and for the
approximately.
Approximately. Sheikh, I'm sorry, I don't have much idea, but maybe it was about after 12.
Okay.
So does that mean that we have to give some sacrifice for that?
Second question.
Okay. Second question is that I just want to know that my father-in-law lives with us, and I know that he's my permanent mahram, but still, can I uncover my hair in front of him, or is it better for me to cover?
Okay. Okay, I'll answer. Wajazaki. Sister Fatima has two questions. The first question is, Muzdalifah, she knows that when we spend the night in Muzdalifah, the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is to pray Fajr there, and after praying Fajr and making dhikr, just before sunrise, the Prophet used to go from Muzdalifah to Mina to throw the stones of Jamarat al-Aqaba. But the expedition she was with, they made them go from Muzdalifah after midnight. And she's asking, do we have to slaughter anything because we've abandoned something that is mandatory? And the answer is no, because she's a female, and females and children were giving the exception from the Prophet ﷺ to move to Mina before the break of dawn. Usually it should have been about 1 o'clock a.m. and this is the time when the moon disappears, as Asma bint Abi Bakr, may Allah be pleased with her, and with her father used to do. However, 12 o'clock onwards, inshallah, this is permissible, and because her husband is with her, her children are with her, those men who are accompanying her take her same ruling, inshallah. And her second question is, may I take off my hijab in front of my father-in-law? Your father-in-law is exactly as your father. So whatever you do with your father, you do it with your father-in-law. You can wear normal clothes, take your headscarf, as long as he's a trustworthy Muslim, as most Muslims are, and there's no reason for you to fear anything otherwise. But if your brothers-in-law are around and they are adult, definitely this is not permissible. Brother Adil from Saudi Arabia.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu
Sir, I have a big doubt. Actually, I am from India.
Okay.
Okay, then my doubt is, sir, there are 4 different schools of thoughts are there.
Okay. Can you turn down the TV?
To follow any one of the school thoughts, or
Can you turn the TV, please?
Okay. Okay, sir. So my question, sir, is, I do Raflatan, okay?
Okay.
So in the 4 schools of thought, it is few of the people, like my parents and all, they say, no, don't do Raflatan, we are followers of this Sahaba, this Sahaba. So they have drawn up their,
Yes.
stomach. Okay, they don't go for the Raflatan. They say that should not do Raflatan, we should follow our own,
Okay.
praying and all. Back in India, and here I have to struggle a lot back in India also, sir.
I will
My
answer
question to you is it mandatory to do Raflatan? I want clear-cut answers. If you can clarify me, I will be thankful to you.
I will do that.
Raflatan is mandatory or not?
I will do that.
Shukran.
Hayyakallah. Brother Adil is asking a very short and concise question. Is it mandatory to raise your hands in prayer? As we know that the sunnah is you raise your hands in 4 locations. 2 are not repeated. And that is 1, when you start the takbiratul ihram, the first takbir in the Quran and the prayer. The second is when you are in the tashahhud, the first tashahhud, and you stand up for the 3rd rak'ah, you raise your hands. The 3rd and the 4th happen in every rak'ah. When I bow for ruku' and when I raise my head and saying Sami Allahu liman hamida. He's asking, is this mandatory? The answer is no. This is his question and this is my answer. However, is it sunnah? Definitely yes. And what about the 4 schools of thought where the school of Imam Abu Hanifa, may Allah have mercy on his soul, said that it is not part of the sunnah? Well, this is what the Imam said. The other 3 Imams say that it is part of the sunnah. The hadith is crystal clear and you cannot say that it is not authentic. It is authentic. It's in Sahih Bukhari. Ibn Umar said that I've seen the Prophet not once, he's always often does this. So saying this, it is a sunnah. However, there are many sunnahs in the prayer that if you don't do them, your prayer is valid. Your prayer is invalid if you leave out something that is a pillar or intentionally leave out something that is mandatory. So if someone goes to the ruku' position without saying Allahu Akbar, he doesn't utter it. I'm not talking about Raf' al-Yadayn. I'm saying that he just goes there and says Subhana Rabbil Azim. Why didn't you say Allahu Akbar? He said, I don't want to. Or he bows or prostrates and he does not say Subhana Rabbil Azim or Subhana Rabbil A'la. Why didn't you say it? Did you forget? No, I didn't forget. I just don't feel like it. I want to say something else. And in this case, this person's prayer is invalid. But sunnahs, such as raising the hands, putting your right hand over the left on the chest. If I want to pray like this throughout the whole prayer, my prayer is valid. My prayer is valid and it's accepted. I have abandoned a sunnah, but it doesn't affect my prayer. Brother Faisal from UAE. Brother Faisal?
Hello.
Yes, brother.
Hello.
Can you?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Yeah, by the way, my name is wrong over there. It doesn't matter. My question is very important to me.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum to you.
Wa alaikum assalam to you.
Yeah, but I'm coming from a South Asian country, Sri Lanka.
Okay.
Okay, my sister's husband passed away due to the cancer from 4 years back, okay?
Okay.
Now, she has a means to her life and she's teaching at school. And she is claiming that she can take care of her kids. She has 2 kids.
Okay.
And she's telling that she can live alone. And last year, she went to Umrah with my father so that she went with a proper way. Now, my question is to you that can she live a life like that forever, or can she manage like that? What is the rule in Islam? That can she live a life like that without getting married?
Okay. I'll answer your question, inshallah. Brother Faisal, or whatever his name is, he's from Sri Lanka, is asking about his sister who is a widow and she has 2 children and she is living alone. So, and she wants to stay like this. And he's asking, is this permissible for her? First of all, if her father is in the same town and she's living in a separate house, is this permissible? As long as the father is not objecting to it and it's not hurting him. And the pros are far greater than the cons. The advantages are far greater than the disadvantages. it is permissible as long as there is no harm or hardship on her. But if she is living in a flat or in a house, and this may make her face difficulties, make people with illnesses in their hearts have bad intentions about her, or wish that they can do something or do things that may harm her or harm her reputation, this becomes forbidden. If she's safe, secure, and sound, yes, she is capable of living on her own. There's nothing haram in doing this. If you're asking about her refusal to get married again, though she's getting a lot of proposals, if her refusal is because of her wanting to take care of her children, and she knows that if she gets married, that the children will be taken away, or the new husband would not want to live with her children, and she would like to devote her life to them and upbring them in a good Islamic fashion, this is permissible. Getting married is not mandatory. It depends on the person, from person to a person. But she's instructed, she is advised that you should try your best and get married and have your full trust and dependence on Allah. Allah will take care of you, and Allah will take care of your children, as Allah did with Salama, who, may Allah be pleased with her, was widowed with children, and the Prophet proposed to her, ﷺ, and she complained that she's an old woman who has a lot of jealousy in her heart. She cannot tolerate that the Prophet has other wives, and she has children, and the Prophet said that your children are mine, I'll provide for them. As for the jealousy, I'll pray to Allah that He will take it away from you. As for your age, you're younger than me. And she became the mother of the believers. So she should have trust in Allah, and Allah would give her, inshallah, more than what she hopes for. We have Muhammad from Nigeria. Please, alaykum assalam, turn down the volume of your TV set and listen to me through the phone.
Okay, my question is that whenever a Muslim entered in graveyard, is it permissible to read the Quran or not?
When you what?
When you went to a graveyard.
I cannot understand you.
Is it permissible for when a Muslim woman went to a graveyard or to the Quran?
Okay, graveyards. Okay.
Is it permissible for a Muslim to recite a Quran?
Okay. I will answer your question. Faisal from Saudi Arabia. Faisal?
Yes?
Can I have your question?
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Me and my husband are, inshallah, intending to perform Hajj Ifrat this year.
Okay.
We are residents of Huda.
Okay.
We know that Tawaf Ifada is obligatory to complete the Hajj, but I would like to know if before leaving Makkah we should perform Tawaf. We are residents of Huda.
Okay.
My second question is, I'm performing this Hajj on behalf of my aunt who passed away a few months ago. I would like to know if I have to make intention while wearing the ihram that I'm performing this Hajj for my aunt.
Okay. I will answer your questions, inshallah. And we have Brother Ahmed from India.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I'm asking about a Muslim, and I have divided into 4 classifications, if you answer me. A Muslim, number one, a Muslim can be a thief. Number 2, a Muslim can be a murderer. Number 3, a Muslim can do zina. Number 4, a Muslim can be a liar. That's all.
Okay, I will answer your question, inshallah.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Going back to Muhammad from Nigeria. He's asking that it is permissible to recite the Quran in graveyards, and the answer is no. It is not permissible to recite the Quran in graveyards because this is an innovation. It was not done by the Prophet ﷺ, and therefore we should not do it. Would the deceased, would the dead people benefit from it? The answer is no, they will not benefit from it. They would benefit from us supplicating to Allah to forgive them, to expand their graves, to fill it with light, and to open a window from paradise. But they would not benefit from us reciting the Quran in the graveyards. Faisal, she is asking about performing ifrat, and she's asking about the last tawaf. And I think, and I may be mistaken, that she is mixing up tawaf al-ifada with tawaf al-wada', the farewell tawaf. We know that tawaf al-ifada is a pillar, and you cannot perform this except on the day of Eid onwards. But tawaf al-wada' is the last thing you do before going back to Jeddah or leaving the holy shrines, leaving Mecca. So she's asking, is it mandatory for us to do this? Most likely, because she and her husband would perform tawaf al-ifada on the day of Eid, which is the sunnah. But on the 13th or the 12th of the Hijjah, just before they leave to Jeddah, the haram is completely packed, and it's very difficult for them to perform that tawaf. So they want to go back to Jeddah and rest for a week or two and then come and perform it. This is not permissible. However, it is permissible for you not to do tawaf al-ifada. So you don't do it, which is a pillar, on the day of Eid, on the 11th, on the 12th. So once you go and finish your stay in Mina, whether on the 12th or on the 13th, you go then to Mecca and make your tawaf al-ifada. And with this tawaf al-ifada, tawaf al-wada', the farewell tawaf, would be included. And immediately if we leave afterwards, alhamdulillah, you don't have to offer another tawaf. The second option is that as long as you have done all the rituals except tawaf al-ifada, it is permissible for you to go to Jeddah and stay there a week or two until the crowd is much less, and then go and offer your tawaf al-ifada. And if you did not offer sa'i, you offer your sa'i of al-hajj. However, these 2 weeks you are not permitted to have intimacy with your husband, because you have made the first tahallul, but you have not done the second one. So I hope that this answers your question. As for your question about offering your Hajj on behalf of your aunt who died a couple of months ago, may Allah have mercy on her soul. The answer is, first of all, if you have done your Hajj, it is permissible for you to do Hajj on behalf of your aunt. What is the thing to be said? Nothing. Labbaik Allahumma Hajj on behalf of my aunt. That's it. Nothing special. You do whatever else you want to do. Again, Brother Ahmed has a question which is a little bit strange. He says, does a Muslim rob? Does he kill? Does he fornicate? Does he lie? The answer is, if you are asking about, is he supposed to? Definitely. The answer is no. Even a Jew, even a Christian, they're not supposed to do these things. But is this happening? And the answer is yes. We have Muslims that may steal and may kill and may fornicate and may lie and do different number of sins altogether. But does this nullify their Islam? The answer is no. They're still Muslims, but the level of Iman increases and decreases according to the sins and the good deeds. So the more you do good deeds, your level of Iman increases until it is 100% charged. But the more you do sins, it is reduced and it goes down and down and down, but it is still there. It is not completely gone or erased. I hope this answers your question. Brother Muhammad from Saudi Arabia.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Salamatullah.
I just want to ask you that prayer Arafah is on Saturday this year. In the Arafah, on Saturday, can we fast? Because the Prophet prohibited the fasting on Saturday.
Okay, any more questions?
No, that's it. Thanks, Lord.
Hayyakallah. Brother Muhammad has a question, very legitimate. He's asking that the Prophet ﷺ forbade us from fasting on Saturday in an authentic hadith. Even if someone would not have something to break his fast, he would bite over some branches of tree or leaves or whatever. And he's asking that Arafah is on Saturday. So is it permissible to fast it? The answer would be yes, it is permissible to fast it. The first hadith that I've mentioned a while ago refers to the fact that people fast Saturday on its own for the sake of Saturday without any legitimate reason. So it falls under the category of general voluntary fasting. And this is forbidden if it's general voluntary fasting. There is no reason to do this. No, you should not do it. But if there is a legitimate reason, and if a person is fasting it not because it's Saturday, because of another legitimate reason, as in the case of Arafah, as in the case of Ashura, as in the case if you're fasting a day before it. In the authentic hadith, the Prophet ﷺ went into his house and saw one of his wives, our mother-in-law, that is our mothers of the believers, and he found her fasting. So he said, did you fast yesterday? That was Friday, of course. So he's asking about Thursday. Did you fast yesterday? She said no. He said, are you going to fast tomorrow? She said no. The Prophet told her, break your fast. Meaning that you cannot fast Friday alone for the sake of Friday. And it means that you can fast Saturday with another day. Now, having said that, the scholars say that it is permissible to isolate Saturday if it coincides with Arafah or with Ashura or with any other recommended day to fast, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Okay, we have brother Abrar or sister Abrar. It can go both ways from Saudi Arabia.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah, brother Abrar.
Yeah, it's my name is Sayyid Abrar actually.
Oh,
so
okay.
we just put it that normally it's Arab, so I'll say Abrar is a woman.
No, it's inshallah, it's a man's name.
Right, yeah. I have two questions. One is just the one you mentioned earlier. I did not pick up the word which mentioned that sacrificing, because I'm living in Jeddah, for instance, I'm giving the sacrificing Bangladesh.
Okay.
So that's the nail cutting, all this, how many days to forbidden? Number one. Second thing is that I'm living there, and if I'm going to the Hajj,
inshallah,
do I have to do it the tawaf, inshallah, and mixed sahih? This is the two things I'm asking.
What kind of Hajj are you doing, brother Abrar?
Wallahi, stage is the Kiran.
So you're making Qiran, inshallah.
Yes.
Okay, I will give you the options. I will give you the options.
Instance that I'm giving the.
Yes.
Can I continue?
Yeah, yes, please.
Okay, if I'm giving the sacrificing over there, do I have to do it again here after Hajj on the 10th?
I will answer your question, inshallah.
All right. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Hayyak Allah. Okay, first, brother Sayyid Abrar has two questions. And his question is, he's sacrificing in Bangladesh. So he's giving the money and somebody's sacrificing on his behalf in Bangladesh. Until when he has to refrain from cutting and trimming or clipping his nails? The answer is until the slaughter has been, or the sacrifice has been slaughtered. So if they're slaughtering on the first day of Eid, once they slaughter, you can shave, you can cut, you can do whatever you wish. That is permissible. If they're doing it on the 13th day of Eid, you have to refrain the first day, second day, third day, until they slaughter, and then you can do that. Now, he has a problem with offering Hajj because he's asking about Qiran, and Qiran we know that he has to sacrifice for Hadi. Now, Hadi and Udhiyah is different two things. So if you're going for Hajj, I recommend that you do not offer Udhiyah, which means that you can clip your nails and cut your hair, because the people who offer Hajj do not offer Udhiyah, they offer Hadi. But if you insist on doing one in Bangladesh, it is mandatory for you to offer Hadi when you go for Hajj, because this is part of the Qiran and the Tamattu' rituals. With this, we come to conclude our program. Until we meet next time, fi amanillah wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
إلا الله والراسخون في العلم يقولون آمنا به كل